Welcome to episode 37 of Shane Talks.
In a row?
In a row. Little Kevin Smith joke there for episode 37. Going to be kind of a shortish episode. This week we're working on kind of a bigger project for next week. We're going to see how editing goes on putting that together. It might turn out different than we originally planned, but just doing a quick short episode this week because of all the work that's going into what's supposed to be next week's episode. We'll see how it actually plays out. So this week, episode 37, showing a little Kevin Smith joke in there, calling it in a row. We're just going to kind of talk about some random stuff. We're going to talk about a lot of the trailers that have come out recently. We'll also address the fact that Jason and I were supposed to have date night last Thursday, but he got his second COVID shot, and that knocked him out for not going out on date night last week. So we will be going on date night tomorrow night, and we're going to go see Nobody at a theater downtown that we have not stepped foot in yet. So maybe we'll shoot a little video after it's over and do a review of Nobody after we watch it.
I'm a little disturbed at the fact that you're calling it date night.
I mean, it's date night. Is you and me going to see him? We're going to sit next to each other and hold hands while we eat popcorn, right?
First of all, you don't eat popcorn, and second of all, we're not going to be the only ones there. I'm going to have friends joining us.
I can still.
Oh, it's not a double date.
I can still pretend.
Anyway, go ahead.
So anyway, this week Jason and I are drinking Taxman's Cherry Picker. We've recently kind of my friend that worked at Sun King is no longer with Sun King, so we don't have the connection that we did to drink Sun King beers as frequently as we have over the past year. So Jason and I just happened to get lucky and have another friend who works at the brewery Taxman, so we're going to support him for a couple of weeks at least. They don't release as much stuff as Sun King. They're not as large of a production facility. They've still got, they're probably my favorite brewery in the state of Indiana right now. A lot of their beers are some of my favorites. They have one called 401 Cake, which is a German chocolate cake beer. Still not as good as Sun King's German chocolate cake Oktoberfest they did last year. That was amazing, but the 401 Cake is still really good. In the wintertime, they do one called Frozen Assets, which is like a super thick chocolatey milk stout. It's absolutely delicious also. So we're going to be drinking some Taxman beers. They've got some sours out right now that we'll give a go to. This one's sour-ish, but not really sour. It's Belgian yeast, so it's a lot thicker and heavier yeast, and the cherry flavor comes in a little bit in there, but probably not as much as either of us would like it to come in. Like probably a lot more cherry flavor would be better with it. But still, we're gonna be drinking some Taxman for the next couple of weeks and see what we can find there that we like. Jason, did you watch anything this week you want to talk about?
I talked about For All Mankind already. But I'm already in the second season, and I'm already halfway through that second season.
Nice.
So
I need to watch that. I keep seeing promos for it, like when I watch Apple shows, and I keep seeing the promo for season 2, and it looks pretty cool. So I should probably get caught up on that.
So it's 10 episodes each season, and what I think is kind of interesting is the first season actually spans over a time frame of like 6 years or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And then this one takes place like another 3 years past that. And
wow.
But they're still using all the same actors. So the actors are like, whether they're just cosmetic changes or whatever, you're seeing them age and
interesting
and stuff. And I think it's kind of a cool, interesting take on it. So
very cool.
It's an entertaining show. Besides that, my kids and I watched Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh, cool.
Right before we canceled HBO Max. Both of my boys, who are 11 and 9, absolutely had a lot of fun watching that.
Nice. How did it hold up for you on a second viewing?
The first time I watched it, I watched it and I wasn't completely engrossed in it. So the second time I was just kind of in the room, probably surfing my phone more so than paying attention to the actual movie. And but I watched a little bit. I mean, all the fight sequences, I pretty much was watching those.
Right on.
But besides that, just kind of blah. So
Right on. Anything else?
I can't really think of anything else that I made an effort to watch this week.
Right on. It's a pretty light week for me too, but I did follow through and I watched the Mallrats TV edit that I talked about last week. It is so weird how different of a movie it is. Like a movie that I could probably like recite word for word, like hearing all the dialogue changes that they did, seeing like all. I mean, there's obviously tons of stuff that got cut out of the movie completely.
Yeah.
Um, Joey Lauren Adams' boobs, Ileana. There is the woman with the third nipple, Ileana Douglas, at the end or near the end with the third nipple. Like that scene's way different. It is also interesting because like, I'm really confused by this. Like most of the movie is at like a high def transfer of it, but some of the like scenes that weren't in the original cut of the movie, like the alternate takes or whatever they used for the television cut, are very poor quality, low def, and I just don't understand why like no time or money was spent to just make them like to upgrade them to look the same. So like you could definitely tell all of the scenes that were, like I said, either alternate takes or like when they would cut away to a character that they didn't cut away to in like the normal version of the movie, like that always was different. And then I'll tell you what, the dude that does Jay's voice, it's insane. And like it literally doesn't sound like him at all, but
Yeah.
like the guy did a good job of reading the dialogue and making it like match up with Jason Mewes' mouth, like knowing what the real words are and watching Jason Mewes' mouth while this guy is talking. I mean, he did a good job of in the ADR. It's obviously not the dialogue we know, and then sometimes it'll be like he'll have his big line or whatever, but then the last three or four words they still just switched it back to Jason Mewes' voice.
Yep.
And I'm just like, why wouldn't you just have this guy say these last three or four words so that at least you can't tell how blatant? Because the dude doesn't even come close to sounding like Jason Mewes. Not even close. Like he's very high pitched, and just like he kind of sounds like a 14 or 15-year-old kid was recording it. Like, I mean, I know it's not, but just the voices just don't match up at all. So hearing it jump back and forth like in the middle of sentences is so weird. Um,
Big titty bitches don't fall out of the sky, you know.
so yeah, so it was a very weird experience watching it. It actually flew by pretty fast. Like I don't know, I guess it would have been like I think the regular movie is like an hour and 40 minutes. This was probably an hour and 30 minutes because they cut so much stuff out and then had commercial time and whatnot. Um, you're right.
Yep.
You'll be right back. Cool. Well, I'm gonna just sit here and keep talking about Mallrats. It was a very bizarre and weird thing to watch. Like I said, it's a movie that I know pretty well. So seeing all the stuff that was changed, kind of bizarre. Not much of the like because there's the extended version that was on like the old DVD and Blu-ray and whatnot that showed like the entire opening sequence, like the opening 22 minutes or whatever they got cut out of the movie. Like
Yeah.
none of that stuff is in this TV version. I thought they might have tried to put some of that stuff back in to like fill time or whatever, but yeah, none of that stuff's there. So it's an interesting like third version of the film that I highly doubt I'll ever watch again. So that's pretty much the only real thing that I can think of that I watched
They
this
got
week.
your money though.
What's that?
Kevin Smith got your
He
money
did.
though.
He got my money. Well, so a few minutes ago you mentioned the fact that you canceled HBO Max, but tomorrow Mortal Kombat hits, man. Like you're not interested in Mortal Kombat?
I am, but it's not something I want to watch at home. Like,
Okay.
not like we've discussed on multiple occasions. That is not, I'm interested in the movie. I'd rather go spend $7 to $15 at a theater and enjoy it in there instead of sitting in my house completely like like I've said before, I just don't want to be interrupted when I watch a movie for the first time, man. Like it was fine watching Godzilla versus Kong the second time in my house because I wasn't interested in following along anymore. But
Sure.
the yeah, Mortal Kombat, it's definitely something that looks entertaining enough, and I would be willing to pay for it to go watch at a movie theater. So
So, in your busy life schedule, though, when are you going to make that time? Like, the convenience of watching it at home is what I love. Like, Friday morning, it's the second thing I'm gonna watch on Friday morning after I get up.
I can't do it, man. I just can't watch movies at home and be as entertained as I would be at a movie theater. So
See, it's still the same product, in my opinion, though, man. Like, it's not different when you're watching it in a theater. Like, it's still the exact same movie.
it's the same product, but it's a different experience completely. Like,
Sure.
which is the whole reason why I work at a movie theater. Why I like
So
to
that you
work.
can watch movies by yourself and not experience it with the audience.
Yeah, but I still get the like, dude. Okay, every time we watch a movie, you
Yep.
have to watch it in 1 or 7.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yep. Big auditorium.
If
Big.
there's any way you could make it happen every single time, that you would. Like, so you're
Here's my
telling me,
argument, though. I want to watch them in 1 and 7, but they aren't cut properly. Like, we're not actually like our 1 and 7s aren't actually flat and scope on screens. So we're not even watching the whole movie. Our scope movies that we watch we're losing like 20% of it.
we're not losing it.
Sure you are. When you watch those opening credits and half the words are cut off because they're off the screen outside of the aperture
Oh,
plate.
yeah, but that was freaking.
I mean, at least when I watch it at home, I get to see the entire full screen picture.
Yes, because you need Budapest to be, and you need to read the whole thing. It's not like we're reading. It's not like we're reading dialogue. It's literally you're reading. Oh, off the coast of Costa Rica, 176 miles west. Like, I don't care. Like,
Got
that's
you.
yes, you're right. There's things that suck about the movie theater that we work at because of the fact that the former builders decided to be idiots when they designed the entire building, not even just the auditoriums, the entire building.
As someone who used to work for that company, I can't disagree.
So yeah, like I got nothing.
That's all
But
right.
I'd much
It's
rather watch it in a dark theater at somewhere else where I cannot be bothered by anybody,
got you.
sitting in my living room and my kids being able to even come into the building, into
So
the
is
room.
it something you're gonna rush out and see? Like, are you gonna try to catch it this weekend in
No.
public or no? Okay.
It might even be something where if we are lucky enough to reopen at the beginning of May or something, that I
I
might
got
just
you.
wait. I can't imagine that that's something that they wouldn't book us with
Sure.
whenever we open, unless it's a month away or something like that.
Sure.
So yeah.
All right. So the main thing that we decided we wanted to talk about tonight is in the last week, week and a half, 2 weeks at most, maybe, there's been a lot of new trailers that have dropped. So there's some cool stuff that we got to talk about. The first trailer, we got a new Fast and Furious or F9 Fast and the Furious franchise saga Furious Cars trailer, whatever they're calling this franchise now. You're shaking your head, man. Don't tell
The
me.
Fast Saga, dude.
There we go. Who thought in 2001 that 20 years later we'd be on movie number 9?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, they are so far gone from what they were. In the same way, you know what? They're the Mission Impossible franchise. Mission Impossible. The first film is actually a Mission Impossible movie. It's very good. It's very much a spy film. From MI2 on, they're just action porn. They're spies to the max. There's multiple action sequences in every Mission Impossible film.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I can't remember which one it was. It was the one where like they were in the Kremlin, I think.
I think you're talking about 4, the one where they put up like the wall with Simon Pegg and him, like put up the wall, and
And
then
they
it
keep
ends up,
walking,
yeah, and they
like
keep
they're
walking.
moving the wall so that it
Yep,
looks like the entire thing behind him is like, dude, that
yep,
was, yeah, like I think that was like the most spy one after one,
yep, probably.
and
I mean,
then like,
and that's my problem with that franchise. I love all of those movies. I enjoy them as action films, but like my parents watched Mission Impossible when I was growing up, so I watched a lot of Mission Impossible growing up, and it was all about being covert and getting in there without being seen. Like, can we get in and do our job and then get out and nobody ever know? Whereas, in all of the Tom Cruise ones, it's I'm gonna get in and get stuck and have to blow my way out of wherever I'm at. And don't get me wrong, like some of the stunts are pretty awesome, and like him on the side of the airplane, knowing that he actually did that stunt himself, that's really cool. But I wish they would have just called it anything but Mission Impossible, because aside from the first one, where it is literally very covert and how do we do this spy stuff, like it went it went bonkers after that. Fast and the Furious did the same thing. I absolutely love the remake of Point Break, which is the first film. I think it's great. And then I enjoy the rest of them because I like the characters, but every single one of them that comes out, I'm like, what kind of ridiculous shit are they doing this week? And we definitely get a lot of that in the trailer for Fast 9.
Yeah.
You don't seem too interested in Fast 9.
I'll watch it because I've seen the other 8. But
Not
sorry,
excited about
9. I've
it?
seen
Oh,
the
Hobbs
other
and Shaw, yeah.
9. I'm not necessarily excited for it. They write themselves into plot holes, and then they write themselves into corners, and then they just completely are just like, we'll just write some BS reason as to why we can get out of that corner.
Sure.
From their character standpoints. It is what it is, man. Like,
my biggest complaint with the go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm not excited about John Cena playing his brother. I don't think John Cena can act his way out of a paper bag.
Yeah.
He's just I do not enjoy him. Whereas, like, not all the people, like, I love Dwayne Johnson. Like, I can watch him do everything and I don't care. John Cena's just weird. He's awkward to me. And he never, like, I watched, what was the one with him and his kids? Like the parents who like cock blockers or blockers. So it wasn't
blockers. Yep.
But it was originally cock blockers. But like that movie, he's just like wooden and awkward, and he doesn't work for me as an actor. So
I'll agree with you on that. So I got a couple of complaints. My first complaint goes back to the first trailer. I really literally wish that they did not show Han at the end of the trailer. I understand like the emotional thing they're trying to pull, like, oh hey everybody come back because Han's back. I still kind of wish they wouldn't have shown that. Then they show him again in the second trailer. I was kind of hoping that maybe they would like skirt that some or whatnot, but they show even more of Han, and apparently now he's a sniper. So whatever. It's kind of disappointed that I mean, obviously, as somebody who reads, a lot of Hollywood news, I knew that he was coming back, but I kind of would have just visually would have been happier with the surprise. And for people who don't read stuff like me, I thought it would have been better for them to not know that Han was coming back. Second, I don't really think is addressed in the first trailer, but there's a lot of magnets going on apparently in this movie. Like a lot of magnets being like making cars do things that I literally think are physically impossible. I don't study magnets, so I'm not sure if a magnet can actually make a car flip through buildings or whatever. Like, I'm sure it's a super magnet and it looks cool.
You're talking about a franchise where when they stole a freaking safe out of a building, it was crashing through buildings but would bounce off of trees.
Off of a tree. Yeah, that's the worst part about that film. I mean, there's a lot of bad things in that movie, but like the worst part was, like you said, you watch it crash through the entire side of a bank, and then the next turn that they take, it swings around the corner, hits a palm tree, and literally bounces off of it. And I'm like, I don't think that's how physics works. If you're strong enough to go through a building, you can break down a tree.
I watched that one again recently.
Is that 5? Isn't that Fast 5?
That's 5. And it's the first one with The Rock, or is it the second one? No, it's the first one.
It's the first one because he's chasing them in that movie.
Yeah. Like, I actually like the whole movie besides the bank vault at the end, like, is entertaining enough for me to watch. So,
sure.
Liked it, but this looks just as equally bad as all the other ones that have recently come out.
And let's be completely honest and unfortunate. I mean, I doubt this is a spoiler because it's just my theory, but John Cena will redeem himself before the end of the movie, and will help them try to take down Charlize Theron. He will all of a sudden become a good guy. They're going to reconcile their brotherhood by the end of the movie because this whole franchise is about family. So he's going to be a good guy in the same way that Jason Statham is magically a good guy, despite the fact that he's the one that killed Han. And they had to bring him around as a good guy for 2 movies. Like, unfortunately, this franchise just doesn't hold to anything. And if they weren't planning to make John Cena's character a good guy, they wouldn't have cast John Cena as that character.
Yeah.
Like, they would have found like the dude that plays what is it, Bartok on Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
They would have got somebody like him to be the bad guy because they know that they could kill him off or whatever and it wouldn't matter. But like the fact that they cast John Cena, the fact that it's Dom's brother, that's how this, like, it's a paint by numbers script for a franchise like that. Like, John Cena will redeem himself. He'll help him try to take down Charlize Theron. She probably will get away again so that she can come back in the 10th movie, which apparently is going to be the last one. So yeah, blah. I'll watch it, like you said. I mean, I'm also very excited to see how you can run your car into what used to be a bridge, wrap it around your wheel, swing between like one mountain to the other mountain, and when you land on this second mountain, like, how are you gonna magically uncouple that wire that's wrapped itself around your tire? Like, I mean, unless they're just gonna jump out of it. Like, I'm very excited to see how that whole sequence plays out. The next trailer is about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. We got a new Black Widow trailer because it has yet another new release date. So they put out another trailer that has quite a bit of new footage in it. How'd you feel about the new Black Widow trailer?
I'm good with it. Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. They could put out 0 trailers for this movie and you and I would go watch it. Like
well, yeah. Is it Florence Plow? Is that how you?
I think that's how you say her name.
Oh, that girl, so hot.
Very beautiful.
Wow. Like, yeah.
Hopefully she does become the new Black Widow.
I want to see more of her. She is a gorgeous woman. But yeah, like all the MCU movies, it's at least Taskmaster isn't Black Widow, like a girl version or another, the dark version of Black Widow.
Yet at the same time, if he can mimic people's fighting styles, then like literally all he's going to do is mimic Black Widow's fighting style, and he is essentially, she's fighting a clone of herself like every other Marvel movie.
Yeah, but like at least he has the ability to maybe, like, I know he has the sword, I know he has the shield, I know he has the bow and arrow, so he might be mimicking all the Avengers, which makes it quite the task.
That's really cool. Well, it's really cool because, oh no, this is set after the Avengers. My fault. In the very first trailer, and it's been a long time since I watched the very first one, there's a scene of Taskmaster watching video footage. Do you remember who? Like, he's watching one of the Avengers. I just can't remember who he's watching.
Yeah, I don't remember who. This takes place between Civil War and Infinity War.
Yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, I thought that this movie was going to be set in the 90s. I don't know if that was just something that I made up a long time ago. But yeah, it's much more recent than for whatever reason I was thinking. I was thinking this was going... Well, and I mean, maybe the flashbacks are in the 90s, and maybe the flashbacks are dealing with her when she was younger. I don't know why I was associating the movie with the 90s so much. Obviously, the trailer shows there's flashbacks. Maybe they're in the 90s or something. It's going to be interesting for me to see how they handle Taskmaster. Like, is Taskmaster going to be somebody we have seen in the MCU? Or is Taskmaster going to be somebody new that we start seeing randomly in the MCU? Like, there's got to be some kind of reveal with Taskmaster, right? Like, when they break off his mask or at some point in the movie, like, they have to reveal who he is, right? Or do they not?
And I mean, he could just be somebody new. So
I'm more than anything, that's like, and I'm trying to prepare myself to be let down and not find out who Taskmaster is. But I mean, like, it's Marvel, and they're all about like those secrets and connecting stuff. So like, I don't know, when the next trailer we're going to talk about is Shang-Chi, and the character that's training like the young Shang-Chi or whatever has that mask on, and I'm just like, what if they somehow connect it where like Taskmaster is this Asian dude that used to be the guy that trained young Shang-Chi or something? Like, what if they tried to tie it in that way or something? Or what if it turns out to be somebody we've seen from Falcon and Winter Soldier that we don't realize is you know 5 years ago was doing this thing and being Taskmaster, but I can't think of anybody in Falcon and Winter Soldier who that could be. So I don't know. So the Shang-Chi trailer is the next one we were going to talk about. Another MCU movie.
Directed by
Daniel Destin Creighton, the guy that worked with my buddy Brett a lot in the beginnings of their career, and done almost every Hollywood movie together up until now. Did a lot of movies with Brie Larson. So, and yeah, when I watched the trailer, it was one of those things where I was like, I mean, it looks like a Marvel movie. And I've told the story before when Daniel Destin Creighton got announced as the director of it, I hit up Brett and I said, "Hey man, are you about to be a Marvel cinematographer?" And he kind of, in a roundabout way, said that he didn't think he was going to be able to get the job because Marvel kind of has like their people that they deal with, and even though him and Daniel are really good friends, he didn't think that Daniel, being his first Marvel movie, would have the weight to pull him into the project. So it did not happen. So I'm very sad for Brett about that. But I mean, when I watch the trailer, like it's not like it screams, "This is a Daniel Destin Creighton art house movie that he's done for the last 10 years." Like, it's definitely a Marvel movie. Um, but it looks interesting enough to me. I liked the Iron Fist TV show, so I don't know why a lot of people were apparently crapping on Iron Fist and then excited. I mean, this looks cool and all, but like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Shang Chi as a character and making a movie out of it?
I guess that, I mean, the main reason they probably were making it was to try and get more diversity in the MCU.
Oh, for
uh,
sure.
because I felt like Iron Fist was definitely more of a better character that has similar things going on.
Sure.
um and I think he's more well known, so it would have been an easier way to market things. But I hope if they ever do bring Iron Fist into the MCU, that they stick with the original concept of the fish out of water,
Okay.
of Danny Rand being essentially a spoiled rich Ivy League kind of kid who his life gets completely turned upside down and everybody dies that he knows, except for like, no, I think everybody dies, and then he ends up getting saved by the monks,
Mm-hmm.
and then he ends up channeling the chi. So I hope that they stick with something along those lines, instead of rewriting it, because I guess they were talking to Henry, like people were petitioning for Henry Golding to play
Okay.
Danny Rand, and it's like, no, like the
Okay.
whole premise is the fact that he he had to adapt to become a part of that culture because of the fact that he was
White.
stuck there
Yeah.
in the middle of the mountains in a monastery. Like, it
Yep.
wasn't like he had a choice to like ever leave at that point. So I don't know. There's certain things about Marvel lore
Uh
that I
huh.
think shouldn't be touched. Um, I don't mind when they made Kingpin black for the Daredevil movie with Ben
No.
Affleck.
Yep.
It fit the way that they went with it.
Yeah.
Um, I think that you have the ability to change genders with a whole lot of people. Captain Marvel, like, you made Annette Bening the original Marvel,
Right.
like like it worked for that movie.
For sure.
It was fine. They could maybe make it work if they changed Danny Rand, but I feel like Danny Rand's story like is even more so because like he was also dealing with the fact that there were a lot of people who didn't believe that he should have been the Iron Fist because of the fact that he's a white guy.
Sure.
Like,
Yep.
so to change that all for the sake of um the social justice warrior, or whatever you want to call it, or
Yeah.
representation, but it's not like you're giving it to a white person because it was about an Asian person. It's literally about a white person
Yeah,
being out of sorts. So I feel like it would, I don't know, but who knows? We don't, you know, it's kind of like being a Patriots fan. We always say, "In Bill we trust," as far as
sure.
Belichick. So, like, I guess with the MCU, even their worst movies are better than most people's
Yep.
good movies. So, in Kevin Feige we trust, and in
I
the
believe that.
MCU we trust. So,
How do you feel? So obviously, fake Mandarin had the 10 rings on his fingers, like we know from the comic books. How do you feel about them doing the 10 rings as 5 bracelets on each arm for this movie? Does that bother you in any way?
no,
No? Yeah.
it is what it is. As long as they can, um, I'm still with you that I wish that they would bring in Trevor at the very beginning of this movie.
Yes.
Like, that
That was
should
the
be the
next thing I was
sequence.
going to say.
That should be the sequence before the reveal of the title of the movie.
Yep.
Is literally like Trevor being pulled in front of the actual Mandarin,
That
and
helicopter coming down with Scoot McNairy pulling him off the helicopter, Trevor running his mouth, doing his funny Trevor bits or whatnot, and then
trying not
literally,
to get killed, and then
yep,
being pulled in
uh,
front of the Mandarin.
and put him in front of the real Mandarin and then just kill him. Like, Ben Kingsley doesn't need to do any more Marvel movies. He's not a real character. Like, there's no reason to keep him around, and just like set the tone of the Mandarin's a really bad dude. And then we're going to introduce you to his son, who you're supposed to really like because he's obviously a bartender and partying it up right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping and praying that somebody at Marvel has that same idea for that opening scene, just to tie, like, because all those one shots are so good, and we haven't really had anything that's brought that. Like, I mean, we have the one with Lizzie Kaplan and the dude from Bring It On, where at the end of it they get turned
Jesse
into
Bradford, or not
Jesse
Jesse.
Bradford. Yep,
Yeah,
yeah, they get turned into Marvel age or Agents of Shield at the end of that one shot, and then we never ever saw, like, you could have brought those two in on Agents of Shield. Like, it's not like
yep,
they're demanding huge salaries right now. I mean, Lizzie Kaplan's done a lot of like big stuff recently, but like not Jesse Bradford.
yeah. It
So
definitely would have been awesome for them to have followed up with that.
yeah, and I mean Titus Welliver was in that episode, and he was awesome. So yeah, Shang-Chi's got some cool stuff in it. I'm interested to see how they work in the 10 rings being like the bracelets or whatnot. Obviously, there's the scene where like he slams his fist into a table and you see like the blue light coming from his arm while he's doing it. So like they probably still have like 10 different powers on each one of them or something. Just gonna be kind of interested to see like what mystical thing they end up doing with that instead of making them real rings. So that's our Marvel. So now we got some more Marvel stuff coming up in a minute. Just a couple of days ago, we got a new Army of the Dead trailer. I was sold from the first trailer, thought it was awesome. Second trailer, didn't know you. What's up?
So Shang-Chi is not the son of the Mandarin.
Oh, okay.
Shang-Chi is in the comics anyway.
Well, they retconned him recently from what I saw in a video that I watched, where they retconned him where Wu Pan or whatever is like Wu Pan is now the father of Shang-Chi and is acting as the Mandarin, I thought.
Oh, okay. Well, what I'm reading right here is that uh, Shang-Chi is actually the son of the villain, Dr. Fu Manchu.
Well, the same video that I saw said that Marvel is not going to be using that because it's considered a racist term now. So I think that's why they went with like Wu Pan or something like that for his father's name. I don't
Gotcha.
know. Again, I watch these YouTube videos and just trust them that they know what they're talking about since I don't take the time to research it. So we'll see. Like, because I mean, I thought that's the whole thing about like his I gave you 10 years and now you need to come back and like, train with me or whatever. Like, I thought that was the Mandarin telling his son like he has to come home.
Yeah. It also says that the guy who wrote this also wrote Wonder Woman 84. So,
Oh
woo,
boy.
yeah,
Oh.
that's a problem.
Well, I'm gonna go with the hope that other people down the line ruined the Wonder Woman 84 script after he wrote his initial draft. Maybe. I feel like DC doesn't do as good of a job of keeping their scripts in line as Marvel does. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It could end up being, Ant-Man and the Wasp for all we know. So we got the second trailer for Army of the Dead. You a Zack Snyder fan for these kind of movies? Because I thought Dawn of the Dead was really good.
Dawn of the Dead was really good.
But these are obviously different zombies from the trailer.
Well, and it seems like the second trailer shows that they're evolving somewhat,
Mm-hmm.
so it might be the same and just later.
Oh, okay. That would be really interesting if he does connect the two movies.
I personally think the zombie tigers look really freaking cool.
Yeah.
But come on, man, like it's a shoot 'em up zombie movie with David Bautista. Like,
yeah.
Another one who barely acts, in my opinion, most of the time. His Guardian role is pretty much the best acting that he does. I've watched him.
I liked him in the opening of Blade Runner, or Blade Runner 2049. Like his scene
never saw that one.
Oh, okay.
But I've watched a few other movies he's been in and just not terribly impressed with his range. So
I'll give you that for sure. Not saying that his Blade Runner scene is like amazing or anything, but I at the beginning he's more of like a likable guy, and then it goes into the action scene. So it was just something a little bit different before the action stuff started that I was like, oh, Batista's Batista. Like, I like him in interviews that I've seen him in, so I think he's a nice guy, but I agree that his acting range is not that huge. So yeah, and it's a heist movie. So that should be a lot of fun. Like it looks like I'm curious how much of the zombie stuff we see in the trailer is before or after the heist.
Gotcha.
Like, I mean, obviously the trailer shows you them getting into the vault eventually, but is it they get into the vault fairly easily and then they have a hard time escaping with the money? Or is it the majority of the movie is them trying to get to the vault, they get to the vault in Act 3, and then there's some kind of quick wrap up. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. It should be a lot of fun.
Next one that you have on our list here is a movie that definitely did not need a sequel whatsoever. But I will say, watching the trailer makes me want to see the movie.
For sure. And the first one wasn't even like it was that great of a movie. The only reason that first movie was any good was Ryan Reynolds and Sam Jackson.
We are talking about Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Yeah, so like the Hitman's Bodyguard was a fine movie, but it just wasn't that great. It's not a very solid script. It literally is only good for the lethal weapon factor of it. You've got, two guys who don't want to be working together, who are forced to work together, and they just, make fun of each other and shit talk the entire movie. Ryan Reynolds is really good at that character. Sam Jackson is really good at that character. So it works really well. But again, like the movie itself isn't that great of a story. So yeah, definitely didn't need a sequel. But watching the trailer, like there's a lot of funny bits in the trailer.
Absolutely.
And like Ryan Reynolds just has this magic about taking a very blah concept and then just making it a lot of fun. Like, because again, if this was anybody else, like I'd watch that trailer and be like, like I don't think I'll watch that. But like him reading his book on the beach with his headphones on while there's just like all kinds of gunshots and stuff going on behind him and him being oblivious to it, like for whatever reason, like that works for me with Ryan Reynolds in a way that it wouldn't work for me if Hugh Jackman was sitting there and doing it. So I'm excited for it. I'll watch it. I'll give it a shot, probably at home. Back to Marvel talk. We in the last couple of weeks got a second trailer for the Loki series. Got a lot more dialogue than we got in the first movie. The first trailer. First trailer was kind of just a lot of quick action shots and stuff like that. This one kind of, Luke Wilson got a lot more dialogue, and we kind of got the setup for what's going to be going on. How do you feel about Loki? Or like, I loved what happened with WandaVision until the last episode. I've really enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier so far. Now we're going to have like a month break before we get another Marvel show with Loki. Are you excited for Loki, or is it just there?
Loki,
Hiddleston.
Hiddleston is always fun to watch in this role, and it was surprising when they did what they did in Avengers Infinity War. I'm glad that they found a loophole for him to
Sure.
come back and play this character. Um, I'm all for it. And Owen Wilson's comedic timing is really good. So,
Oh, Owen. Yep. Sorry, I said Luke Wilson earlier. You were correct. Owen Wilson. My fault.
so it should be quite entertaining.
I think so too. Going to be interesting with the playing with the timeline thing to see how exactly far they take it. I assume nothing in the Loki show will affect like the official MCU timeline, but I mean that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, there's the scene where they've got the same timeline with the breaks on it that was when Bruce Banner was with the Great
The
One. Who?
ancient one.
The Ancient One, yeah. So like there's that screen that has the same like timeline with all the things coming off of it as what she made. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out and if there are any ripple effects into the real MCU or if everything that happens on that show is, in an alternate timeline. I mean, well, they're about to introduce the multiverse, so see how this plays into the multiverse also. Like, does these time anomalies that Loki's going to be a part of, are they what creates multiverses and stuff like that throughout time? And I'm really excited to see how it plays out. It should be a lot of fun. Last show trailer that we have to talk about just dropped 2 days ago. I'm super excited about it. It's been something I've talked about on this show probably every episode that we've ever done. We've talked recently about the fact that I don't think I know a single person that has anything negative to say about this show. Everyone I've shown it to, everyone that it sounds like you've shown it to, they all love Ted Lasso. Do you
And
do you
what's
know
not to
anybody? Go ahead.
what's not to love about Ted Lasso? I
Agreed.
don't know anybody who has had a negative thing to say about it in any fashion. So
Yeah, so we got a trailer for season 2 of Ted Lasso. It's officially coming on July 23rd. I am over the moon and beyond excited. Like I want more Ted Lasso in my life. It's one of those shows that I'll if I'm doing stuff around the house, I'll kick it on, and then I'll eventually sit down, and then I eventually won't stop watching till the show is over. Like the episodes are short and quick, and I get really engaged and enjoy it. So I'm very excited for the footage that I've seen from season 2. I'm a little confused because they don't break down whether this season is going to be them in the relegated league or if they're going to like do a time jump and jump back and say, oh well, they won the relegated league. Like, are they going to open with them winning the relegation league so that they're promoted back to the EPL's top league? Can't really tell from the trailer what's going to happen there, but again, the football part of this show is not what matters. It's the characters and how much fun they are. So really excited and looking forward to that.
totally agree.
Anything else you want to talk about this week? You got anything else?
Not really.
Okay. So like I said, tomorrow night we are going to go see Nobody together. Maybe we'll record a quick video after that to throw on at the end of this episode. We can give our quick review of Nobody, see if either Jasmine or Brandon want to comment on their thoughts and feelings on it. Just throw a little out in the field action on the end of this episode, but kind of wraps it up for this week. It's been kind of a long night with the other stuff that we did for next week's project. So I appreciate your time, man. I know you've been yawning a lot. So everybody that listened, thanks a lot. Sorry this episode is so short. Hopefully next week's episode gonna have a lot of content, a lot of funny stuff. We'll see how it gets cut together, but looking forward to everybody hearing episode 38. But thank you for listening to episode 37. Everybody have a good night.